Good morning, afternoon, evening, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to continue with our previous post of, I have the same patient every time I come to work, and he died 2 years ago. Now, if you haven't checked out part 1, go ahead and skip back and check that out as the story does continue. Now, as always, we will be publishing new parts every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, I do have to warn you that some of these stories will have foul language within them. I will do my best to skip around those parts, but sometimes it's unavoidable. All right, let's dive right in. Shit. I can feel my body going cold as ice as I stand there with my fingers glued onto the handle. Where on earth could he have possibly gone? For God's sake, the man was dead. I feel an impending sense of panic welling up inside me, which forces me to quickly open the door and step outside. One of my fellow colleagues just so happened to be walking down the hall and noticed me in my panic state. "You doing all right in there? You look like you've just seen a ghost," she asks and then laughs. If she only knew. If only they all knew what I have been seeing and what I just saw. I pretend not to notice her and rush to the bathroom situated at the end of the hallway. Once inside, I lock the door and slump to the ground. More questions flooded into my head at an overwhelming pace. Where the hell did he go? Why did he finally move? This exact scenario is something that I initially feared, but over the course of 2 years, turned into something that couldn't possibly happen. I stand back up and go over to the sink, turning the metal faucet on so I can splash my face. As my hand touches the faucet, I am reminded of the familiar feel, similar to the door I just froze in front of. I pause and glance at my watch. It's still 4:07. I hit my wrist, hoping to unjam the mechanisms of the watch, to get it off that cursed number, but no good. I feel as if I'm losing my mind, and I don't want to tell anybody about what's been going on. But enough is enough. I exit the bathroom, hoping to flag down one of the other nurses, so that I can see what time they have on their watch. As I step out, my work phone begins to ring. Before unlocking it to answer, I look at the top right corner to see what time it has. 4:07 a.m. I answer the phone, unaware of who it could possibly be. "4th floor, how can I help you?" I say, unenthusiastically. "Hello, is this the nurse taking care of the patient in room 407? An unfamiliar voice says. I pause, and then say, "Yes." "Great. They've been scheduled for a transfer off your unit. Looks like last shift forgot to do it, so preferably if you could get that done quick, it would be much appreciated." Somewhat stunned, I ask back, "And where is he being transferred to?" I'm then met with the sound of the phone hanging up. I look at my phone again and notice the time has changed to 4:08. Well, that's one problem fixed for the time being. Now I need to figure out where my patient is being transferred to. I quickly move to the nurse's station where all the computers are located, ignoring everyone on my way there. I swipe my badge and open up the chart to room 407. I glance through the notes, all of which ended in 2016, looking for any mention of a transfer. As I continue to look, an alarm goes off asking for assistance in one of the other rooms, causing the nurses all around me to rush down the hall. Normally I would help too, but at this very moment I have a task that I need to attend to. I close out of his chart and reopening it, hoping to refresh the page with some new info. My hand that controls the mouse stops as my eyes zero in on what was previously listed as location room 407. It now says location morgue. Morgue? I didn't even know this hospital had a morgue. I had a sneaking suspicion based off the fact that our employee elevators in the back had a basement floor, but I never thought it was something that was actually used. Well, at least this makes sense. He's finally going to go where he needs to be. I won't be dumping him off on another person, and I'll be free of this burden as soon as he's there. My mind shifts to the next barrier to this problem that I am now facing as I remember the look of the empty bed as I left the room. Where could he be? I'm no longer gripped by the same level of fear that I initially was. The hope of potentially finally ending this gives my body back the confidence to march back into the room. I slowly open the door just enough for my head to slide in, giving me a view of the room in its entirety. And then I wait. I wait for that same stupid IV pole to do its hourly beep, as if it was aware of me watching. The machine beeps and flashes a light onto the bed. The silhouette of a body is there, still covered by a sheet. I immediately pull my head out and close the door. Maybe I was imagining him leaving. I began to doubt myself and scoff at the idea of a dead body actually moving. I return back to the nurse's station and gather the necessities for transferring a patient. As I walk by the medication room, I get an idea in my head. Just to make sure, I mutter to myself as I enter and pull out a combination of drugs known in the nursing world as a B52. A B52 is a combination of the drugs Benadryl, Halidol, and Ativan. When used in conjunction with another, it causes the recipient to enter what is commonly called night-night land amongst nurses. I grab almost 3 times the recommended dose. I'm not taking any chances with this. Worst case scenario? He's already dead and it does nothing anyway. Luckily, everyone is still busy helping in the other room to notice the amount that I had just taken out. I make my way back to the room and again open the door. I need to do this quick before my fear starts to take control of me. I briskly walk to the edge of the bed, paying significantly more attention to where my feet are this time, to avoid any loud noises. I hold my breath as I got close with the B52 shot and, in one quick motion, jab the needle through the sheet into what I assume to be his thigh. I quickly inject the medicine and step back, fully expecting movement. The covered body remains motionless. You really were imagining things, I think to myself as I unlock the wheels of the bed and position it to be pulled out of the room. I still prefer to be at the front of the bed as I cannot bear the smell that comes from where his head is. I open the door and pull the bed out into the hallway. The employee elevators are located at the far back, so I quickly push the bed down the hallway to avoid any interaction with people. I finally reach the elevators and quickly hit the button to open the doors. I push the bed inside and step as far away as possible into the corner opposite his head. The B on the control panel lights up as I hit it and the doors close slowly. 4 more floors and I was free of this mess. As the doors close, I become fully aware of just how eerily creepy it is to be jammed in an elevator with a dead patient I've been seeing for 2 years. The elevator slowly moves downwards as I focus on keeping my cool and hope for the love of God that he doesn't wake up or move in some way. If he does, I'm almost certain that I might just instantly die of fright. An electronic voice blurts out from the speaker. Basement floor. Reached. I wait for the doors to open. I wait, and I wait. But the metal doors in front of me refuse to slide open. I get an immediate feeling of terror as I notice the lighting above me start to dim and flicker. The lights quickly start to flick on and off at rapid intervals, then slowly alternating. On, off, on, off. I keep my eyes locked on the bed in front of me for any movement. On, off. The lights remain off this time for an extended amount of time. A growing, putrid smell starts to fill the elevator as I cover my mouth to avoid both screaming and inhaling the noxious fumes. I stand motionless, staring at the bed in front of me. The white sheet remains as still as I am. It's too hard to really tell, but part of me feels like it isn't covering his head anymore. I can't shake the feeling that I'm now being watched. I close my eyes and hope to whatever higher power there is out there that this moment passes. Basement floor, reached. The electronic voice says once more. I open my eyes and immediately turn around. The doors slowly slide open, each second feeling like a millennia. As they open, the elevator lights quickly turn back on, illuminating a dimly lit hallway in front of me. This area in particular feels almost ancient, as if it hadn't been used in quite some time. But never mind that. I have a task that needs to be finished so I can finally be rid of myself of this problem. I look back to my patient to find the sheet still over his face. I must have been imagining things again. I grab the foot of the bed and quickly begin moving down the hallway. I pass what looks like a couple old storage rooms before I reach the end of the hallway. A large metal door with a massive side handle waits in front of me. Above it looks what appears to be the words, morgue. It's hard to tell as the red paint has slowly started to chip away to the point where there are only a few letters can be made out. Deep inside, I know this is the right place. It feels as if the room itself is calling to me, telling me this is where I need to be. I grab the handle and open the door, fully exposing the room. It's clear it hasn't been used in quite some time, but in front of me looks like what appears to be a giant oven. This room is so poorly lit that I need to bring out my flashlight on my phone to see anything. I leave the bed at the entrance to the room and walk over to what I assume to be the crematory. Attached to its door is an identity sheet from a patient chart. I already know what it says before I even read it. Room 407. Well, that's it for our story tonight. And as always, thank you for joining us. And look out for new posts every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And as always, sweet dreams.